The topic of today's lecture is medical entomology, second part. The lecture is PhD Zhukova, AA, Medical Biology Department. In a second lecture of medical entomology, we will tell about class Insecta. In this class, the most medical importance have four orders. This is order Anapleura, lice, order Siphanoptera, fleas, order Hemiptera, bugs, order Diptera, mosquitoes, flies, sandflies, and others. The Insecta is the most numerous order of phylum Arthropoda. Each contains over than 20 orders. The Insecta are higher non-vertebrate organisms, and the amount of species of Insecta is 1.5 millions. The Insecta have next characteristics. The body of Insecta is divided into three parts. This is head, thorax, and abdomen. These parts are segmented. The head carries paired eyes, antenna, and different types of mouth apparatus. So here you can see the three parts of body of Insecta: head, thorax, and abdomen. Head contains eyes, mouth apparatus, antenna. Thorax consists of three segments. This is prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. Each segment carries one pair of legs and two pairs of wings. After thorax, the segmented abdomen is present. So, three pairs of appendages and two pairs of wings are attached to the thorax. Body of Insecta is covered with cuticle on external part. The cuticle has protective function and do the function of exoskeleton. So the striated muscles attaches to a cuticle. The muscles of Insecta are striated and they provide the movement of appendages. The body cavity of Insecta the same as all Arthropoda, and this is mixocell. Insecta are triploblastic animals, so they are developed from ecta, meso, and endoderm. The bilateral symmetry of the body is characterized for Insecta. The Insecta have well-developed organs and systems. The digestive system of Insecta consists of three parts. These are foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Foregut includes mouth, pharynx, and esophagus. The salivary glands open into mouth of Insecta. Midgut is stomach. This is middle part of digestive system, and each has endodermal origin and carries many digestive glands which produce enzymes. Hindgut includes ileum, colon, and rectum. Where not digested food is removed by the anus to outside. The hindgut is developed from ectoderm and have cuticular covering. The circulatory system of insecta is of an open type, each lacking arteries and veins. Circulatory system is presented by a pulsating vessel of the heart which lay on dorsal side of the body. The contractions of heart pump the blood, which has name hemolymph, to the different parts of the body. The hemolymph flows freely throughout their bodies, lubricated tissues, and transporting nourishment and remove the waste products. The hemolymph of insecta is colorless. Each contains phagocytes. So the function of hemolymph, this is transport of nutrition and removement of waste products. And circulatory system of most insecta doesn't take part in transport of gases. The respiratory system of insecta is performed by tracheas. The tracheas opens on a lateral surface of thorax and abdomen, which with pores, and tracheas transport air to inner organs. The excretory organs of insecta are Malpighian tubes and fat body. It is an the fat body is excretory organ for storage of nutrition and absorption of uric acid and other waste products. Nervous system of insecta contains a supraesophageal ganglion, circular connective branches, and ventral nervous cord. The brain of insecta is divided into three parts: anterior, medial, and posterior. The anterior part contains mushroom-like formations and forms the coordinative center of brain, which regulates complicated habitual and life activities of higher insects as bees, wasps, ants, and others. Each also contains a center of vision, which provide the work of complicated eyes. The medial part innervates the antenna, tactile and olfactory organs. Posterior part innervates the superior lip and the anterior part of digestive system. The ventral nervous cord innervates the intestine, heart, aorta, and reproductive system. So, the main parts of nervous system of insecta, this is brain, and nerve tube. In the insects, the nervous system is based on the principles of reflexes. The afferent impulses move to brain from different sensory organs. The sensory organs of insect are very various, and each provide where difficult behavior and each provide their life in environment. The eyes of insecta can be simple and compound. Today we will tell about parasitic insecta. So, in some parasitic insects, as result of becoming of body more simple, so the most of parasitic insecta have simple eyes, but the most insects have the difficult compound eyes, which provide the mosaic vision. This type of vision enables to determine colors and distances. But for some parasitic insects, the simple eyes are characterized. Endocrine glands of insecta regulate the processes of growth and development, metamorphosis, and metabolism. They are represented by neurosecretory cells of the brain and ductless glands. They regulate protein metabolism and egg formation. The reproduction of most insecta is sexual. The sexual dimorphism is characterized for most insecta, so the females differs from males. The female reproductive system consists of paired ovaries and non-paired oviduct. The male reproductive system contains testes, ducts, differences, and tubular glands. The development of all insecta is indirect, with larval stage or metamorphosis. So, for all insecta, the indirect development is characterized. The indirect development, this is development with larval stage or metamorphosis. There are two types of metamorphosis which characterize for insecta. This is incomplete and complete metamorphosis. The incomplete metamorphosis includes three stages: egg, larva or nymph, and adult. The incomplete metamorphosis is characterized for such parasitic insects as bugs and lice. A complete metamorphosis includes four stages. This is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The complete metamorphosis is characterized for parasitic insects as Ododiptera and for fleas. The first order, which we study in class Insecta is order Diptera. Each includes a family Culicidae, which includes mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are blood-sucking insecta. They have small size. The body of mosquitoes divide into head, thorax, abdomen, and the fusion of segments is characterized. The head carries paired compound eyes. Each has antenna and different types of mouth apparatus. The most of mosquitoes has sucking mouth apparatus. The mosquitoes have 3 pairs of appendages and 2 pairs of wings, which attach to the thorax. For mosquitoes, the indirect development with complete metamorphosis is characterized. So, from egg, the larva hatches out. After some molting and active feeding, each transfer to pupa, and from pupa, the adult hatches out. This form of development has name complete metamorphosis, and each characterized for all organisms from order Diptera. So each includes 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The most medical importance in order Diptera has the next species of mosquitoes. This is Anopheles, Culex, and Aedes. On this picture, on this slide, you can see the differences between the main stages of mosquitoes Anopheles and Culex. So you can see the difference between eggs, larva, pupa, and adults. This is larva of mosquito Culex. On this slide, you can see the briefing siphon, which provide the localization of larva to the angle to surface of water. So the main specific feature of larva of Culex, this is presence of respiratory siphon. This is larva of mosquito Anopheles. Each doesn't have a respiratory siphon, so the larva of this organism is laid to parallel to surface of water. This is part of head of mosquito Anopheles. So the head of mosquito Anopheles has white breathing trumpets. The head of this is head of pupa of Anopheles. Each has white breathing trumpets. The head of pupa of Culex has narrow cylindrical breathing trumpets. The mosquitoes as blood-sucking insects has a very high medical importance. The mosquitoes are vectors for causative agents of malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, filariasis, encephalitis, and dermatobia. So, the female of mosquito Anopheles is vector and final host for Plasmodium. Plasmodium, as you remember, is causative agent of malaria. Culex and Aedes are vectors for Japanese encephalitis, yellow fever, tularemia, and filariasis. Yellow fever, this is viral disorder which characterized for tropical and subtropical regions of South America and Africa. The main symptom of this disorder this is severe headache, pain in bones, and the skin become yellow, so we can see the severe jaundice. The mortality of this disorder is very high. The people infected by yellow fever by biting of mosquitoes Aedes and Culex. Dengue fever or black-bone fever is caused. This is viral disorder too. The disease is widely distributed in tropical and subtropical regions. The people infected by biting of mosquitoes Culex, Aedes, and Anopheles. The symptoms of this disorder are sudden high fever with a rash on face, the severe headache, pain in eyes, muscles, and appendages. The dengue fever is not fatal, but some forms of dengue fever can develop very quickly. So here on this slide you can see the symptoms of this disorder. The mosquitoes are vectors for roundworm Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malaya. This roundworm is causative agent of elephantiasis or wuchereriasis. The people infected by this disorder by biting of mosquitoes of genus Aedes, Culex, or Anopheles. This parasite, Wuchereria bancrofti, it blocks the lymphatic vessels mostly of lower extremities and cause the increasing of lower extremities. We can infect by this disorder by biting of female of mosquitoes Aedes, Culex, and Anopheles. Encephalitis. This is viral disorder which characterized by high fever, headache, and damaging of brain. Each transferred by some species of Aedes and Culex. Dermatobia. Dermatobia, the board fly. This is fly. This fly lay each eggs on body of mosquitoes. When the mosquitoes bites the people, the eggs of this board fly hatch very quickly, and the larvae of this fly penetrate the human skin and cause swelling, inflammation, pain. Um, this is cutaneous meiosis. So this fly use some species of mosquitoes as vector for larvae and eggs. So you understand which mosquitoes is a very big problem for health of people in many countries. So there are some general methods against which are used by people against of mosquitoes. The first methods, these are mechanical methods. So this is using of nets on windows near of beds for mechanical protection against of mosquitoes. Natural or physical methods, changing the environment so each becomes is unfavorable for mosquitoes. This is drainage of breeding places, development of shade if larva require sunshine, and vice versa. So changes of water level, pH of water can do the development for mosquitoes is not comfortable and can cause the decreasing of number of mosquitoes. The biological methods, these are using of natural enemies or predators of mosquitoes. These are fishes. Gambusia affinis is fish which feed by larvae and pupas of mosquitoes. Frogs, ducks, these are natural enemies which feed by mosquitoes. The biological methods includes the gene modifying sterilized males which compete with normal males in nature, and these sterilized males fused with females and cause the reduction of number of next generation. So these can't fertilize females, and each causes the decreasing of number of mosquitoes. Chemical methods, these are using of insecticides. Insecticides act on contact being absorbed through the cuticle. These are spray with insecticides, which gases immediately knock down of mosquitoes. Mostly these insecticides contain pyrethrum. Residual spray of resulting of resting places of adults where we can use insecticides, hydrocarbons as DDT or other chemical insecticides which kills the adults and larvae. Using of different poisons against of larvae of mosquitoes. The pupas are not affected because they don't feed. respiratory poisons, applying non-volatile oils on surface of water, which prevent the breathing of larvae and pupas by blocking the respiratory spiracles and breathing siphons. Residual insecticides as DDT, Dipteryx, which sprayed on water surface mixed with dust or oil. Practically, any one method alone is not efficient for mosquitoes control. Very often, for successful killing of mosquitoes, we should use 2 or more methods which provide the efficient level of killing of mosquitoes on different wear stages. And you should remember, with time, the adults of mosquitoes and their pupas and larvae become resistant to different chemical substances. So, for decreasing of number of mosquitoes, we should use 2 or 3 methods of control against of mosquitoes. The next family of order Diptera, this is family Muscidae. Each includes different flies. Our first fly, this is housefly, Musca domestica. This is simple housefly, each lives everywhere, and the medical importance of housefly, this is mechanical vector of spores of bacteria, eggs of helminths, and cysts of different pathological protozoa. So the housefly is vector for dysentery, cholera, hepatitis, and many other human disorders. The next medical importance of flies, some flies are causative agent of meiosis. Meiosis, these are group of disorders which caused by larvae of fly. Please remember this. Meiosis are disorders which caused by larvae of fly. After deposition of eggs on a host skin, the larva of some flies hatches out. They burrow into skin or penetrate into wounds and develops to adults. So these damages of skin which caused by larvae of flies we call meiosis. The first fly which can cause meiosis, this is Wolfartia magnifica. This is fly which mostly live in tropical and subtropical regions of South America, Asia and Africa. This Wolfartia magnifica each lay eggs into skin of warm-blooded animals. The larva hatches out and starts to feed by living tissue of these animals, causes the formation of severe wounds. After this, the larva down to the soil transfer into pupa, and from pupa the adult fly hatches out. So Wolfartia fly larva causes tissue meiosis. The next fly is boat fly. The Latin name is Dermatobia. We talked about dermatobia when we talked about mosquitoes. So the dermatobia use some species of mosquitoes for transferring of eggs. When mosquito sucks human blood, from eggs the larva hatches out. These larvae penetrate the human skin and feed by human tissue. So mostly it causes the skin meiosis too. After some time, these larvae fall down to the soil, transfer into pupa, and from pupa the adult fly hatches out. So here on this slide you can see the life cycle of dermatobia. The larvae of dermatobia feed only by warm-blooded tissue of people and mammals. Classification of meiosis. There are three main types of meiosis. The first type, specific meiosis, each caused by obligatory tissue parasite. When the larva of fly develops only in warm-blooded living tissue of animals. The flies which can cause specific meiosis, this is Wolfartia fly and Dermatobia fly. So the larva of this flies can't live anywhere except of so the larvas of this fly can live only in tissue of warm-blooded animals. Semi-specific meiosis, each caused by larvae of obligatory necrobiotes. So mostly these fly lay eggs into decaying material, but sometimes they attacks the human because they attracted by odor of emanating from discharges or decaying tissue. So very often these flies lay eggs into human wounds which has large number of pus. These larvae feed mostly by dead tissue. The semi-specific meiosis can cause by flies from family Calliphoridae. Accidental meiosis, each caused by larvae which accidentally get into human body. For example, accidental meiosis can cause by larvae of Musca domestica, Stamoxis and Avis. Diagnosis of meiosis. This is finding larvae in wounds and lesions. The treatment of meiosis, this is a simple removal of larvae. So mostly the larvae of flies develops in skin of human and animals and feed by living tissues. The next organisms from family Muscida, this is tsetse fly. The most of you study tsetse fly because it is vector for Trypanosoma brucei gambians. Tsetse fly, this is fly from family Glacinidae, and the genus of tsetse fly is Glacina. Glacina palpalis, this is specific vector for Trypanosoma brucei gambians. Glacina morsitans is specific vector for Trypanosoma brucei rhodesians. Both species of Trypanosoma are causative agent of sleeping sickness. So, tsetse flies are vectors for African trypanosomiasis or sleeping sickness. And you remember which is the distribution of sleeping sickness depends of geographical distribution of tsetse flies. So, tsetse fly is specific vector for sleeping sickness. This is tsetse fly. Each live in some regions of Africa, and in these regions we can infect by sleeping sickness. The next fly, this is vector for roundworm loa. The specific vector for loa is manga fly. Latin name of manga fly is chrysops. The people infect by loa by biting of a manga fly. During the bite, the microfilaria move to the wound and spread in human body. The adult worms mostly live in subcutaneous tissue and in conjunctiva of eyes. The geographical distribution of loa, this is some parts of Africa. And the distribution is limited by geographical distribution of manga fly. So this is a fly chrysop. This is specific vector for loa. Loa is causative agent of loalosis. The next order from a class Insecta, this is order Anaplura. Each includes lice. Lice, these are obligatory, permanent ectoparasites of people and mammals. On a human body, 3 species of lice live. This is Pediculus humanus capitis, Pediculus humanus corporis, and Pterus pubis. Pediculus humanus capitis. This is headless. Pediculus humanus corporis, this is bodilus, and Pterus pubis, this is pubiclus or crabulus. This parasite attach to human hairs or live in a human garment, suck blood, and can be vectors for different human disorders. Mostly we can find lice in children. So, Pediculus humanus capitis. This is a small insecta. The size of this insecta is near 4.3 4.5 millimeters. It is wingless. Each has a simple eyes and the mouth apparat of sucking type. So each lives in hairs of head and sucks blood. A female lay eggs and each produce the special gly substances which attaches eggs to human hair very hardly. The name of egg of lice is nit. The medical importance of Pediculus humanus capitis, each causes disease pediculosis. And Pediculus humanus capitis and Pediculus humanus corporis are vectors for epidemic typhus. The symptoms of presence of lice on the head, this is itching, the person scratch, hyperpigmentation of the skin, red macules. Pediculus humanus corporis, this is a relative of Pediculus humanus capitis, but these live in clothing and garment of people. Each sucks blood too. Pediculus humanus corporis causes pediculosis too, and it is vector for epidemic typhus. Phtyrus pubis, this is crab loose. It is smaller as Pediculus. It is smaller as head and body loose, and the size of crab loose is near 1.5 millimeters. This parasite live on hairs of genitalia, eyelashes, eyebrows, mustache, and other parts of the body, but it doesn't live on hairs of head. So all hairs except of head. Each cause severe itching because it's fed by blood, but you should remember which Phtyrus pubis is not vector for any human disorders. Phtyrus pubis causes disease phtyriosis. And if we tell which by Pediculus humanus capitis and Pediculus humanus corporis mostly children suffer, if we tell about Phtyrus pubis, it's mostly characterized for adult people, and way of infection is contact with sick person, and sometimes the sexual way of infection. All the way of infection by the ways of infection of all species of lice, this is contact with sick person or with clothes or garment of this person. So, on this picture you can see the Pterus pubis or crab loose. Very often each can live in eyelashes, eyebrows, and other parts of human body. The diagnosis of lice, this is clinical picture, and finding parasites and their eggs in human hairs or human clothes. Next order is order Aphaniptera or Siphanoptera. These are fleas. Fleas, this fleas, this is fleas. This is order Siphanoptera or Aphaniptera. These are temporary human ectoparasites. For fleas, the indirect development with complete metamorphosis is characterized. Mostly, the fleas lives in holes, tunnels, or places where the large number of animals live. Fleas lay eggs into garbage. From eggs the larva hatches out. Each is very active, each feed and transfer into pupa. From pupa the adult insecta hatches out. The fleas have flattened body. The size of this body is near 4-5 millimeters. It is wingless insecta. Each has two simple eyes and a sucking mouth apparatus. So each feed by sucking of blood of people and other animals. Each has 3 pairs of appendages, and the third pair is elongated, and each provides the jumping of fleas from one host to other host. So each move by jumping. It is temporary ectoparasite of human and animals. So each sucks blood. After this, each jumps to other animals or to their house. So human flea, dog flea. For fleas, the food specialization is absent. The hungry flea can suck blood of people and other animals. Mostly, the fleas live in burrows of rodents, nests of birds. A body of fleas consists of head, thorax, and abdomen. It is covered with chitin with small teeth-like structures on each. The head has one pair of simple eyes, antennae, and tentacles. The mouth apparatus is of cutting, sucking type. The indirect development with complete metamorphosis is characterized for fleas. After 12 days, the larva hatches out from eggs, each molts 3 times, and transfer into pupa. From pupa, the adult flea hatches out. The life cycle depends of amount of food and species, and may range from 16 to 220 days. So this is Pulic's irritants, human flea, but each can feed by blood of human, dogs, mice, rodents and others. Medical importance of fleas. The most important medical important of flea, it is vector for bacteria of plague. The plague, this is bacterial disorder, and the causative agent is Yersinia pestis. The bacteria of plague has natural reservoir hosts. These are rodents, where the reproduction of these bacteria happens. When the flea sucks the blood of infected rodents, the intestine of this flea is temporarily become blocked. So when the hungry flea sucks the blood of people, this blood is returned with microorganisms of plague into wound. But it is very important the flea stay the hungry. So each jump from one person to other person and infect all these people by plague. So by this way, in short period of time, the flea can infect many people. Sometimes infection can take place through the infected fleeces of fleas which are rubbed into skin. Human and rat fleas can be vectors of bacteria of plague. The fleas can be vectors for dog and mice cystode, endemic typhus causative agent and others. The prevention against of fleas, this is proper disposal of sewage, treatment of domestic animals and control of rodents. The other name of plague, this is Black Death, and in human history, it is very well known, but huge pandemics, especially in Europe, which when the parasite kill near of 30-60% of people in Europe. Reducing of world population from this parasite is estimated near of 450 million in the 14th century. So the plague is very dangerous disease. These are the symptoms of plague. There are many historical information about plague. The next order is order Hemiptera. These are bugs. The most of bugs are parasites of animals, plants and people. Bed bug is temporary human parasite and each feed by blood of animals and people. The color of this bug is brown reddish. The size is near of 4-8 millimeters. Each has head, thorax, and abdomen. This is in bed bug where wings are reduced and each has a sucking type of mouth apparat. The saliva of bed bug contains the substances which cause severe irritation. So the place of bites of bed bug, in this place where inflammation develops, and it can cause the severe allergy reaction and severe itching. The other organisms from this order, this is kissing bug or Ridevid or bug from family Ridivida. This is a night animal, so at the night this bug bites the people into lips or conjunctiva of eyes. The defecation of bug happens after feeding, and when the people scratch the place of bite, the person contaminate the wound of bite by infected feces which contain the Trypanosoma cruzi. So you remember which the Trypanosoma cruzi is causative agent of Chagas disease. So the infection by this disorder is caused by contamination of wounds by feces, by infected feces of kissing bugs. This is kissing bug or triatoma bug, and this is the specific vector for Trypanosoma cruzi. The geographical distribution of this bug, these are some regions of South and Central America. And the distribution of Chagas disease is limited by distribution of triatoma bugs. So we can infect by this disorder only by biting of this bug. For bugs, the indirect development with incomplete metamorphosis is characterized. So the female lay eggs mostly in garbage. In garbage. From eggs, the larva hatches out. The larva molts and transfer into adult. So each has 3 stages: egg, larva, and adult. The next, organisms from class Insecta, this is genus Phlebotomus. The general name is sandfly. These insects are cosmopolitan, and they can live in many parts of the world. In Egypt, the Phlebotomus papataceae is vector for cutaneous leishmaniasis, and Phlebotomus langeroni is vector for visceral leishmaniasis. The size of adult sandfly is near of 2-3 millimeters. Body covered with hairs and divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. On thorax, there are 3 pairs of appendages and 1 pair of wings. For sandflies, the indirect development with complete metamorphosis is characterized. So each has 4 stages in life cycle. This is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The eggs are laid in batches, in damp areas, in cracks, in holes, in walls or ground. After 10 days, the eggs hatches out. The larva comes and molts 4 times. Each transfer into pupa near of 14 days. And after 10 days, the adult hatches out from this pupa. Sandflies are weak flyers, mostly they jump. The females are nocturnal biters. The females of sandflies suck the blood of human and animals, and these are temporary human and animal parasites. The sandflies are vectors for some human diseases, as different types of leishmaniasis. So the sandfly is specific vector for leishmania. The sandflies are vectors for Papatachi fever or 3-day fever. This is viral disorder. The sandflies are vectors for Carrion's disease or Peruvian verruga. This is a bacterial disorder which caused by Bartonella bacilliformis. Each causes the harara. Harara, this is a severe allergy reaction to bites of sandfly. The control against of sandfly. This is filling of cracks in walls and ground. Using of screens and nets 4 meters per square inch. Using of insecticides against of larvae and adults. Using of repellents. Thank you for your attention. The lecture is over.